James, my podcast prince.
Oh,
who,
hello.
As soon as you said we're ready to record, immediately looked around the room in a very worried manner.
Yeah, because my notes are in the other room, or the other womb in which I emerged. My notes are inside my mother because she ate them thinking it was a, like 100 sliced ham sandwich.
100 slices of ham sandwich.
Yeah, that's what a paper is.
Is 100 slices of ham. That is true.
It's 100 slices of paper.
Every piece of paper takes 100 slices of ham, so the next time you're writing out your manifesto, just maybe go and think about all the pigs that died to make that sweet, sweet, sweet slice of tree skin you are writing it upon.
I love a paper-sliced ham, but we don't have time to get into it because, Sean, there's
Do you want to get your notes?
Yeah, I'll get that once you're, discussing what you've done with Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling. I'm James.
I'm sure.
And this is that show. Okay, just a quick update. Marshland Media is back to a 4 to 5 times a week podcast release schedule, which means no more of this 2-hour recording. That was a time of quarantine when it was only 2 shows a week sometimes. So,
Sure.
Sean, we can't keep doing. Once we get to like 70 minutes, we're wrapping up. Actually, I should say, once we get to 60 minutes, hey, final thoughts, and let's get on to plugs.
Sure thing. Do you want to get your notes now?
Yes, of course, I would love to do that. And while I'm gone, tell the people of how the NFL conned the Bills.
Oh, man. The worst part is I have to do this part alone. We lost recently, and it's very sad. So instead, I'm just going to be like, hey, welcome to Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling. This is a podcast where we discuss Lucha Underground. Fucking beautiful, weird-ass miasma of AAA wrestling and Southern California professional wrestling presented to us by the incomparable Robert Rodriguez and the El Rey Network. Today's episode is episode 16, Caged Animals. Animal, baby! A big wrestling episode before we get into like the matches and stuff. A big departure from last week, which is a lot more story and a lot less wrestling. I felt like at least 3 huge matches. Mm-hmm. How did you feel about this? How did you feel about this episode?
I felt like Vampiro did in the beginning, who is like a little child hopped up on sugar, just going, we got it this week, guys. It's freaking awesome. You guys out there, the Twitterverse is buzzing.
I definitely have in my notes, Vampiro is on fire, double fisting the sky.
Yeah.
It was I think all episode, it was the kind of manic energy of someone who is about to pass out, so has either snorted a mound of cocaine or just all of the energy drinks in the back, or maybe a little of both.
No, this is what I think it is, because Matt Stryker was looking visibly different than the past few episodes. I think
he's got the classy leather blazer.
Both of them looked well rested, which means this was either the first record of a weekend, or they might have had an entire week, like a weekend off, and they came back to record. They just seemed ready and very excited. This is, I think, also the...
I don't know if Vampiro seemed well rested at all.
Oh, well, to
Vampiro's, me... Okay, to me, he seemed the opposite of well rested, but like, it's just going like... When you're so tired, so you kind of like dip into that 5th gear of like, I don't fucking know anymore. Wrestling. That was my Vampiro impression.
Yeah, you should listen to whatever Mostly Love and Lucha it was with Dan from Power Playthrough. We went to C2E2, hung out with him all day, and then by like 9 p.m., we're like, oh, we got to record an episode, and then recorded this episode, and we are goofs.
Yeah, Vampiro's a big goof. I like Stryker a lot, though. But so general takes, because I know because it was so different from last week, which was much more of a narrative episode, this is a much more wrestly episode. Like, it was a lot more matches. Some things got pushed forward, but not too much. Actually, a lot of the stories, I feel like, kind of went a little cyclical.
Yeah, some of the stories were either just direct, like, hey, this was from, actually all of them were like, this was catching up from last week. We told you this is what's happening. And then they're just tying into each other, minus the woman being, I'm glad I didn't have my extreme blue blockers on, or you would have missed this woman in a car.
Yeah, that was wild. Dude, the bag napping is paid off. We'll get to all of that as we get into our first match. Drago versus Aerostar.
Also on Vamp and Stryker, they are revealing multiple times. They're revealing the whole multiple episodes being filmed within a weekend because they're discussing these Drago and Aerostar like, oh, last week we saw them fight. And it's like, no, we didn't.
When was that? Was that 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was a little bit ago. So they're revealing multiple times like, oh, last week we saw this. No, you saw this last week. We saw it maybe a month ago.
To be fair, when Vampiro is as Vampiro as he is in this opening segment, you don't exist within time or space anymore. You're in the Vampiroverse, which is really just Vampiro, Vampire Warrior on repeat in the back of your mind.
Well, no, I was going to bring up Warrior of the Night. Where was this energy in those deliveries? What if the director Wicker Man'd him, meaning Nick Cage came to set on Wicker Man, just giving it his all, like, yeah! And the director had to do 10 takes with Nick Cage giving it his all in order to wear him out. And the worn out Nick Cage are the ones they're usually using.
I wish they had done that like a toddler who you need to go to bed, so you're just going to let him run in the backyard for 3 hours. Mm-hmm. I wish they had done that to Vampiro this episode. Even as Stryker is doing the recap and talking about how Puma's back to avenge Conan, I feel like Vampiro remembers what sadness is, and then he's just like, oh yeah, I should emote. Yeah. And is like, Vampiro's understanding of sadness is wild. And I love him and hate him at the same time.
Well, I think it's so hard for him to be sad in this scenario because it's like, I'm living the dream. I'm seeing the wrestling that made me finally break through and be given its due here in the States. So hell yeah. There is also a very, very funny line that the ampedness from the beginning is perfectly bookend when he screams, I got the fans at my back watching on the monitors. It's so fucking good.
And them cutting to, which we'll get to, them cutting to the fans and just being surrounded. It's very sweet. It's a very sweet Vampiro. And I'll get into it as we get into this first match. A great striker in a lot of this episode. The first match being a rematch of Drago and Aerostar. Aerostar requesting the rematch in respect to the victorious Drago. And Stryker explains the benefits of a Technico versus Technico match, which is for fans of maneuvers and holds. The maneuvers and holds that create this spectacle, which we love, called professional wrestling, without the interference of the rule breakers. Yeah. So it's just, which I've never really thought about. It's that's a really good point. That's a really good reason to have babyface versus babyface. He sounds like a big fucking nerd. That's Mad Stryker, but it's a very good point. And and this match does that for me. Oh my gosh, these moves. Oh my gosh. Oh my God, James. Oh my gosh.
I want babyface versus baby bash in a battle, rap style.
Okay, now, yes, and I understand what that means.
One's a Houston rapper and one's an actual popular rapper, I believe.
Aw, yeah, fuck off, Houston.
Yeah, Screwed Stin, get screwed. Your god is no longer there in the form of DJ Screwed.
Wow. Got him with a very precise reference.
Keep screaming free SPM like the chuds you are.
We gotta get to the. This is James beforehand. We gotta get right into it. We gotta get right into it. Yeah, and a discussion of Houston rap music.
Yes,
and why
we can still do that stuff. I'm already 3 notes in. Normally, we would be 0 notes in, and it'd take another 15 minutes to get into one.
Yeah, because I've been listening to the latest story about your butthole and why it doesn't work. Or it does work, but a little too well.
No, I don't have a butthole. Once I became that of a woman and hit puberty, it sealed itself up.
as the magic of puberty does to us all.
Now I just have an umbilical cord that I just rain on fertilizer.
Umbilical cord rain on me. Opens up with the code of honor, 2 men shaking hands, and 2 moves in. Aerostar with the head scissors to springboard varial plancha. The way Aerostar dives out of the ring, 2 moves in. And the match never comes down. It is at such a high level up top, and it just keeps peaking. Did I mention how much I'm in love with this match?
And I think it's Aerostar. He's tilting the ring, as Stryker said, which made me realize all businesses are trying to figure out ways to sell the audience exclusivity. Like, what can we do? Oh, a VIP package. Okay, well, it's just you get to meet some of the wrestlers and you have either a box or ringside seats. This is what we do. A literal tilt the ring seat, meaning you have a joystick that you can use to literally tilt the ring during matches. Not a lot. We don't want it dangerous, but tilting the ring can also this could potentially murder people. Like, oh, I think I'm going to jump and then off from a top rope, and all of a sudden someone tilts it. And even if they don't fall off, whoever they're going to try and hit, they'll start rolling downhill, and then maybe they land on their skull.
Yeah, and a great way to tilt your workers is to almost murder them.
I'm back in.
Drago with that driving Aerostar's head first into the mat with that like shoulder X factor. Insane. And it's a big part of the match. Aerostar being a little more technical and a little more high-flying. Drago also being very high-flying, but a little more gritty, a little more dirty. Aerostar counters, this insane to me. Aerostar countering a charging Drago from the corner with that rolling capo kick. Like he does like a front flip and lands feet first into Drago's back of the neck. Brilliant. That ends up being followed by a Drago with an RVD back roll counter to set up his tope plancha senton.
Does Rob Van Dam have a name after him?
I always associate that rolling back counter with Rob Van Dam.
Oh, I don't like that. He's not part of this promotion, Sean. You shouldn't be mentioning him at Lucha Underground.
You feel good about that?
Yeah, I do. I love Rob Van Dam, though. He's really cool.
Yeah, he's a real nice. He's a neat guy.
That Dan.
I can't think of a single famous Dan to reference.
It's short for Roberto Van Dyke Daniel. That's why he shortens it. That's a mouthful.
It's a lot of words to say. And there's a lot of moves in this singular match.
Get beat down. Beat down.
Including Aerostar's answer with his satellite suicide dive. I didn't mention big Lucha chant. And let's go Drago chants.
Yeah.
Like, people are still real into Drago. I don't blame him. He's a fucking 30, scruffy little dragon boy. And I love to see it.
Guys, after you go on Spotify or iTunes and give us a 5-star iTunes review, go over to MLMpod.com/donate. Send us $60 so we can go on eBay and buy ourselves an official Drago mask.
I'm not going to lie. We'll get to it at the end. I might get an Aerostar match.
No.
A mask. I'm really, dude, I'm
Guess what?
feeling Aerostar in this match.
If you need an Aerostar match, just go over, rewatch this episode.
I truly might. And I love, and again, Stryker just being an absolute nerd on commentary, which is my favorite version of Stryker, where he considers the differences of power sources. Aerostar deriving from the celestial and the heavenly bodies, meanwhile Drago from the inner earth, the darkness. And if you think of wrestlers as Pokemon, which I often do, I love that. And I love that it justifies how they have similar movesets, but where the moveset comes from is different. And I love that shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
They're a lot like Pokemon because when the fire burns out in their eyes is generally when they die as well.
Yeah.
Like a Charmander.
And then you eat their tails or sell them to Team Rocket and get yourself a nice little chunk of changey.
Wait, you can eat Charmander tail?
You can eat anything if you're hungry enough.
Okay. I'll eat a bullet, baby.
Oh, well, I'll eat a bullet for my Valentine.
Ooh.
Drago nails an avalanche arm drag set up for the Dragon's Lair. I feel like we've talked about it before. Can we talk about it real quick, how fucking neat of a finisher that pin combo that Drago has is when he springboards off, grabs the legs, and sets up for that seatbelt pin.
Wait, what's the name of it?
They call it Dragon's Lair.
Dragon's Lair.
They've called it Dragon's Tail before, but it's the same thing. It is the springboard. Like the fact that he mid-air sets up for his seatbelt pin, it blows my fucking mind. This time he does not get it though. Aerostar rolls through, counters with a Maestral Cradle for the 2. And it just keeps going. Immediately, Drago's back on his feet when he kicks out. Wheelbarrow takedown, bridge pin for another 2. And that's when Arrow needs to create the distance. Kind of rolls away for a little bit. We get to this running, step over, flipping power bomb from Aerostar to Drago, from the apron to the floor. He started this damn move in the ring. That's the shit that... there were so many moments in this match where it's just like, you started that move in the ring, and now this man's brains are splattered across the floor. How? Why? But also thank you. And can I have some more?
You want to know what's crazy is that they should have had Aerostar, that's his name, correct?
Yes, it is.
If Drago's finisher is Dragon's Lair, why isn't his Space Ace?
Oh, wait, what?
The video game Dragon's Lair had a spiritual successor in the same style called Space Ace.
Okay, and you're mad that they didn't reference this very specific Don Bluth-esque video game series?
Yeah, why not? Throw it over to, I don't know, Balto's Run. Was that a Don Bluth?
Who is the... If King Cuerno comes out with the head of Balto next week, I'll lose it. But the flipping powerbomb, phenomenal. Aerostar ends up rolling Drago into the ring, follows up with a springboard diving splash for the 3 at 4 minutes and 56 seconds. And because this match is under 5 minutes, it is not eligible for ranking on Cage Match, and that sucks.
No! What's the limit?
5 minutes.
Okay.
Is literally 4 seconds under the minimum time. And it's so not fair because this match is, for a 4-minute, 56-second match, insane how much they get in and how good it is. And the story, the story of the celestial styling versus the inner darkness styling. Like the same moves, but coming from 2 very different places. And how they contrast and how they battle. And I'm fucking over the moon on this match.
Balto was not Don Bluth, but all of a sudden Cuerno has a Turok switch and he starts hunting dinosaurs Land Before Time style.
Dinosaurs? I didn't think we were going to see Conan wrestle again. Oh,
you got freaking dunked on, you red-haired menace.
You son of a bitch. Post-match, return of respect. These 2 technicos shake each other's hand. They're still about each other. In fact, Aerostar even raises Drago's hand after the match. When Dario Cueto slithers out of his office and says, Aerostar, congratulations. Nice little baby match. Cute, good job, you little sweet babies. But I want more.
Okay, he does say I guess you guys love each other so much. Dario Cueto hates love, but loves drama.
You know what? That's very true. Dario Cueto is the opposite. I was watching the Royal Rumble on stream last night, and I got so excited. Every time I see Sheamus and Drew McIntyre right now, I get so excited because they're just 2 dudes who love each other and also love slapping each other in the titties. And I want more baby faces who just like each other in wrestling. I love that relationship. Dario Cueto hates it.
Yeah, he despises. This doesn't breed violence. It breeds just good wrestling.
Yeah, I like amazing wrestling. Again, this match should be 10 stars.
Also, real quick, the fact that how hard one of them slams the other on the ground on the mat, that's violence. I don't know why Dario Cueto, I was like, oh, they might be dead.
Yeah, the flipping power bomb to the outside is brutal looking. But I gotta give it to Dario. He does set up for a pretty cool deuce in tennis situation where Arrow and Draggle will wrestle matches until one of the wrestlers wins by 2. If you've ever played Mario Tennis, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, I thought you were talking about, you go play some tennis, you got all your outfit on, your little mini skirt, and then you're like, oh no, and you have to run back from the court to the bathroom because you got to take a deuce from running around drinking coffee nonstop.
Unless you've already hit puberty and your butthole is sealed tight.
Mm-hmm. But you got to find a flower garden to spray your umbilical cord out.
Now, why do you say this?
To fertilize. You can't just have it go around on the court. I'm not like one of those freaks at the park. It's not even a dog park. These freaks at this park, the tennis courts literally on a sign say, do not bring dogs in. And every morning it's just riddled with dogs.
It's a menace.
They're feral dogs, but they should know the rules.
They're a menace, and I am convinced James does not know what indoor plumbing is. The winner of this series of matches will receive a unique opportunity, a Dario Cueto special. And we cut to, alone in the training ring, King Cuerno flexes, and then hits the ropes in slow motion. I don't know what this means, but it looks fucking sexy. 10 stars.
All right.
I just love the hard cut to King Cuerno just flexing real aggressively, and then hitting the ropes in slow motion. And then practicing his diving arrow to no one. The final shot is him doing his patented death arrow suicide dive, but there's no one there. So he's just gonna crash and burn.
You gotta train, man.
You gotta train. Choo-choo, all along the train.
Maybe there was a ghost-type Pokemon there that we can't see.
Ooh, there always is.
Because you don't have that scope thing or whatever you need in order to be
The Sylph Scope.
Oh, was it a scope, though?
Yeah, it was called the Sylph Scope.
Oh,
you had to get it. You had to get it because Team Rocket bullied a bunch of scientists.
Damn.
So if you're a scientist, be careful of Team Rocket. They'll bully your Sylph Scope away from you.
Damn, Team Rocket and Trump have a lot of parallels.
They have a lot in common. Back at the desk, they are hyping the bloodletting of Cuerno and Johnny. And what the fuck is a bloodletting in the context of the temple? I don't know, but Vamp knows Johnny is looking for the blood.
Oh, yeah.
And we cut to another great match. Cage versus Prince Puma. This is essentially a title eliminator match where if Cage wins, he has a shot at the title. It's a non-title match because Prince Puma has already technically beaten him once. But if Cage can win this time, he is guaranteed, no questions asked, a title match against Prince Puma.
And when Cage comes out, we hear his theme song for, I feel like the first time. I've never taken notice, but it starts out like, break the walls down, and then Doug. But it starts with him screaming, I am a machine,
Hell yeah.
Sheen, and then Doug.
I'm 99% sure he still uses that voice clip in the opening. I don't know if it's the same song, but he still uses, I'm a machine, and then comes to the ring and has a fucking slapper of a match.
And during this, we hear, when Machete himself was on, they're like, oh, we got a lot of great people here in the crowd. We got this MMA dude, this UFC dude, this former baseball player, and
I have no idea.
Actor Matt McCarthy.
Who the fuck is Matt McCarthy?
Have you seen Front Page Films stuff? Maybe it's Pete Holmes' friend, Matt McCarthy.
Oh, wait, the big red-haired guy.
Yeah.
I follow him. Great TikTok, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen any of his TikToks?
I have not, but he's always been funny.
He has a massive VHS library.
Oh, hell yeah.
And a lot of it, I feel like a lot of it collected. So a lot of it's actual VHSs and a lot of taped off of TV. And sometimes people will request a number, like a 3-digit number or something. And he'll just go into the file of all these, again, taped off TVs. So there's all these maybe you'll see these old school commercials, or you'll see the Family Home Entertainment, the FHE intro. And he's great. Follow Matt McCarthy on TikTok. Cannot recommend enough. Kisses to all of our VHS heads out there.
Oh, real quick. I forget who the name of his wife, but she's also a comedian. She was telling a story on You Made It.
Melissa McCarthy.
No, she was telling a...
Paul McCarthy.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. She's the Blackbird.
She was telling a story about when they first started dating.
McCarthyism.
Yes.
The Red Scare.
She started... Hey, he's got that hair, baby.
That's true. He's a goddamn commie, and she's married to him to get closer to the menace.
So she's telling a story where... Before dating him, she was like, I was difficult for difficult sake. And, like old boyfriends would treat me as such and like indulge in that. So she was discussing a story where she was trying to get his like love and admiration, like, but not in a good way of like picking a fight just for him to be like, oh, I'm so sorry, like this and that, give her the attention that she thought she deserved. So she's like, well, I'm just going to lock myself in the room, this and that. Slams the door and then is waiting for him to like come back into the room. But then hears all of a sudden like a TV turn on and then the sound of a VHS tape go into a VHS player. Then just deathmatch wrestling happening.
This is my guy. Matt McCarthy is my guy.
And then she's like, oh, yeah, no, he's an adult. He's like, I'm not dealing with these childish acts right now. I'm going to go watch wrestling instead.
Honestly, yeah. If they're throwing tantrums at you, you're better off with a good old classic Zandig Jesus Christ moment.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Cage comes out. He is a machine. The song lets you know. Puma comes out without a belt. What a fucking nerd.
Well, yeah, the belt's broken.
It is. It's just, it still looks so weird. Puma coming out without the belt.
We've only seen him with the belt once.
He's a fucking, if you're a champ without a belt, it's a bit of a generalization, you're still kind of a nerd.
Nah.
Puma's struggling to take down the larger Cage. Vocal minority, but loud enough, big fuck 'em up Cage chants.
No.
Yeah, a lot of Cage heads. That's what I'm talking about. This Puma guy's a nerd. I love me some Puma, don't get me wrong. Killed it last night at the Royal Rumble with an amazing spot that I swear to God needs to be a highlight reel for the rest of his life.
Well, speaking of Rumbles, they're talking like, oh, he's no match. But one of them, the commentators, goes, yeah, but remember, he took on 20 people in our Aztec warfare, which is, just pretty much a Royal Rumble. That's why I'm connecting the two. And they said, yeah, but that's 20 men. Not a machine. And 20 men versus a machine is what we're currently going through, little Sean. Because the Dominator is getting a lawsuit.
We
and
have
those
no
20
time
men. Yes, we do.
In this podcast,
we
and you need to bring up the
minutes.
Dominator. We have like 3 matches to go.
Shut up.
Shut up. Oh my God. I have no time. I'm so busy with all my podcasts, but let me spend 15 hours on this terrible dog abuse
plan. It's 30
plan.
minutes. We are 30 minutes in on the recording. So, hey, a minute and a half I will give a quick update.
Sure.
The 12 jurors, the judge, the fleet of lawyers coming after us.
Coming after you.
Us? Because some kid, Megan looks so cool. I want to hang out with a machine. He goes and hangs out in the Dominator. Megan with a 3, you know that movie we talked about.
I'm familiar with the film.
This is a bad influence on children. Here's our lawyers.
The Dominator is a bad influence on children.
I will say, right off the bat, as the Dominator does, it did not harm them physically. But these individuals, these crooks, these AKA lawyers, but what I call them is liars,
Very
are
clever.
trying to tell, if you want to see a real Lion King in theaters, how about you go see Bill Clinton? That's a thing my dad said to a child. Remember that.
Okay.
So,
yes.
They are trying to say that the Dominator did what the Dominator is designed to do, but to a child, which physically fine, but mental anguish I'm being sued for, that's not on me. Megan with a 3
Is that not On you. That is the designed purpose of the Dominator, to create mental anguish.
Oh, okay. So, I'm gonna sue Adam and Eve because I used one of their pocket pussies and it made me cum. And I'm like, oh, it's against God that I just ejaculated inside of silicone. No.
What? No, you're not gonna. If coming causes mental anguish, that is entirely on you. That is an issue you need to seek within yourself, and maybe a couple of professionals to deal with that issue. If you receive mental anguish from a product whose on the box says designed for mental anguish, a pocket pussy is not designed for mental anguish.
But it's designed for coming.
Yes, which is a beautiful thing, you freak.
Yeah, so it's being mentally anguished for a dog.
No, it's not.
It says specifically for dogs.
Yes.
And mental dominating.
A dog who cannot consent.
They don't need to.
What do you mean they don't need to?
They are in our dominion. We are the apex predator. That's why I'm putting them in their place.
It's not your predator. He's not your prey. He is your friend.
No, I saw a dog once eat a child, okay?
Okay.
A child's snow cone, but that might be worse than just killing a human child.
I don't.
Because dogs are causing mental anguish on these children eating all their snow cones.
The Dominator is a terrible product, and I'm so happy you are being sued, and I can only pray you see the justice for your actions.
On to the next.
Brutal cross-check. On the apron, Puma's head bouncing off the edge of the ring.
Oh.
Real bad. Those same chanters. This was like right after the fuck 'em up cage chants, and they immediately transition into holy shit, and eventually get the whole temple behind some lucha, which I actually, real quick, I just love the contrast of the lucha chants from that first match, the Aerostar Drago, which really technical, really fast paced, and then the lucha chants in this match, which just come from like a nasty fucking head spot.
Mm-hmm.
Like just how absolutely different of like the causation of the lucha chants are so almost polar opposite, but it still elicits the same lucha response.
Bouncing your head off a ring, much like our good friend Puma over there, that same sentence is why I'm not allowed to go to most Italian weddings, because when I was asked to kiss the ring, I just started bouncing my head up and down, started sucking on the finger, and that godfather gave me a smacking.
James, I feel like you would actually be the best version of Gollum if Chicago ever had a Lord of the Rings situation.
Yeah, give it to me.
While Puma's on the floor, Cage hits his patented superplex from the apron, like deadlifts him from the floor to suplex him back into the ring. So much muscles, so much strength. Cage in so much control.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where Puma tries to fly up at Cage, catches him midair, curls him like a human barbell before tossing him behind, just dumping him like a sack of potato shit.
I'm a barbell as well, but B-E-L-L-E.
That's pretty hot shit.
Yeah, I go to many bars in our local area, and I say, ooh, won't you come see me?
And then you can't come because it causes mental anguish, which I guess is your legal defense. Good luck.
Mental anguish? That's me when I go to my dad's house and I see above the mantle all the lacking of photos of me.
Aww. I would feel worse if I didn't know you as well as I do, and I think I agree.
Yeah, it sucks, man. Also at my sister's house. Literally maybe it's because I don't take pictures a lot.
I mean, I took all my photos of you down from my mantle when I heard about the Dominator, and I felt morally obliged to take down all my James Mantle pictures.
No.
No, they're still up. They just hurt every time I look at them now.
My favorite mantle pictures are just pictures of the ground.
Okay, because of lava.
Because that's our mantle.
It's right under the Earth's crust.
Yeah.
Speaking of crust, Puma's getting the crust knocked out of him. He starts firing up after all this manhandling, walks into a power slam. Cage follows up with his patented moonsault, overshoots it as Puma rolls in, avoids it, but still actually can't get to his feet. Like actually needs to do the stomp the mat applause to kind of like buy himself the time. And the crowd does. Like, shouts out to Puma in the crowd. They give him the, if you believe in fairies, clap, wrestler response to get someone to their feet. but that's just like how spent Puma already is.
Have we already gone past the neck twisting?
Yes, a little bit, yeah.
Oh, that... I know they're trained professionals, but I am so, like that episode of Sarah Silverman, the neck, there's nothing to protect. Just a sword can go in and out, and then you're dead. So him just manhandling that neck, I hope Puma was doing the work to make it look uncomfortable, but he's like, oh, and it's fine, I'm cool with this. But still, don't mess with the neck.
I mean, flexibility training and neck muscle training, I feel like is a huge part, especially when you're someone the size of, I don't know, Puma's or Ricochet's training regimen, but because they're smaller guys and they end up falling on their backs and their necks a whole bunch. I mean, that, like, the way, going back to that cross check earlier, when he, like, it's not just his head that hits the edge of the ring, it's his neck, too.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was a planned spot. He like intended to do that, but like you have to put in some serious hours in your neck muscles to get that. You kind of have to be a throat goat, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Ooh, like me and bouncing off that ring.
Absolutely, like you in that ring. So the throat goat, Prince Puma, gets to his feet, counter enziguris, and sets up a springboard to the outside triangle shooting star press. Triangle means you bounce off 2 perpendicular ropes before you fly. The most famous triangle in American wrestling, probably the Chris Jericho triangle dropkick, where he bounces off one rope, then bounces off another, and hits his dropkick. Puma does that, but flips in the air like a goddamn balloon on cocaine. Big ovation. As deserved. Rolls Cage into the ring, springboard 450 for the ... 2? Huge "this is awesome" chance. So like Puma's finally getting back into it. He has to throw everything at Cage, but he's getting back into it.
Yeah, he doesn't need Conan, just like Sean doesn't need me for this show.
I'm sorry. So I pause after all my nerd notes so you can make the funnies. And thank you for bringing that up. I forgot to mention, Conan is not with Prince Puma tonight.
Yeah.
Prince Puma, I think for the first time, has come out alone.
Good.
While Conan nurses the injuries that Cage gave him last time they met.
As he deserved.
Yeah, man. Fuck you, Conan.
Like to see him in a Dominator, even though humans shouldn't be put in there.
And no one should be, or dogs.
Dogs
or
ain't people, okay? Cats especially. You put a cat in there, oh, I'm coming for you.
Oh my God. Cage is tapping into his power reserve. So at this, like, Puma has pushed Cage to the point where it's not about manhandling anymore. Cage is kind of running on fumes. But he's a big boy, and big boys got a lot of room for a lot of fumes. So no one can really get like a string of offense in. It's a lot of, I'll get one move in, he counters the second move.
Real quick, if I ever got jigsawed, it would just be me inside a Dominator, but it'd have like knives pointed at me.
We're not. You promised me last week. You promised me this is the end of the Dominator. These lawsuits are piling up. I can't keep talking about this publicly, or they're gonna get my ass. And I feel like this. I feel like this is a Dominator podcast that lightly features wrestling.
I feel like a woman.
Bam, bam, banana Cage. Puma attempts the corkscrew shooting star, but belly flops when Cage rolls in, which is interesting. They have both countered each other's top rope maneuvers. Cage is running discus lariat for deep 2, and then that was 3 chants from those fucking weird ass Cages.
Wait, was this the one like after he got hit by a clothesline?
Yes.
Yeah, man, that clothesline was fucking insane.
So I agree with the people who love Cage. I also love Cage. He's very fun to watch. He's a big guy, which normally isn't my style, but he has a great work rate. He has a lot of really cool moves. It's really fun to see him have to dip into that inner fire. And he makes his opponents look great. Mm-hmm. Like it's not just like he is Mr. Get your shit in that he gets his shit in, but he does go out of his way to make his opponents look good.
Man.
Like I love Cage. The thing I disagree with the Cage fans, and I think I could disagree with most wrestling fans, it's a little bit of taking the shine off and kind of putting it on yourself. Mm-hmm. Like less about the story, more about what you want the story to be.
Yeah.
Is when you hear the "Let's go Puma" and it's the same Cage fans. You can tell because it's a bunch of really deep-voiced dudes that probably spend too much time on the internet. Shout out to podcasts. But that go, Puma sucks. Let's go, Puma. Puma sucks. And that's the thing where it's like, man, there are children here. And I'm not gonna lie, if I'm a kid, I'm probably cheering for Prince Puma over Cage. And that feels a little, I'm hijacking this show.
Okay, I will say I didn't want to bring this up because like Puma maybe doesn't want this story out, but clearly it is. They could be referencing Puma sucks because after I, bounced my head off from the Godfather's ring, Puma thought that's what you needed to do, and he started sucking on the ring as well. They could be just referencing that story.
Let's hope that's what it is. And next week we'll have to determine who is the throat goat in the greater Chicagoland area. Our good friend McCollum here, or Prince Puma himself.
I like McCollum. That's good.
Hey, I'm working on it. I'm working on being a good podcast co-host. But regardless of if you are a Let's Go Puma or Puma sucks guy, Puma kicks out at 2. Cage throws in the stretch muffler. Cool fucking looking submission hold. I don't think it works in real life, but I don't care. It looks great. And it looks like he's about to tap until a wild Conan appears at ringside, wills the fans and Puma to reach for the ropes. And I will say, shout out to Conan here, because as soon as Conan shows up and it's like, come on, there are no more Puma sucks. It is a very clear, and shout out to the audience. Part of it's a studio audience thing, but they are vocal. They are into the match. Like there's a difference between hijacking a very dead show or like just like a really bad wrestling show versus like, these guys are cooking. I get that Cage is your guy, but like let Cage cook with Puma. They both need to look good for Cage to look good. But Puma hits the ropes, reaches there. We get the powerbomb combo from Cage into Weapon X, but opts not to pin after his finisher. Instead, Cage just goes into the ground and pound, mounts Puma, and just punches him with his big, strong machine fists until Conan throws in the towel at 8:41.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that's how this ended.
So Puma loses, but again, to no will of his own. It's interesting because at this point, Puma has won via disqualification and then lost via Conan throwing in the towel. He's like, he doesn't look strong, but he doesn't look like he's stronger, but he looks like he's stronger willed, I guess, at this point.
But hey, Conan has his reasons for doing that, or does he have an agenda?
I loved that. It says Striker and Vampiro exchange. Our good friend James is referencing here. Because Conan gave up on Puma's behalf, Cage has a title match guaranteed. I don't know if it's whenever he wants or if it's definitely going to be next week, but that's a guaranteed title match. That's worth something in this business. We then cut to a little promo package before we come back from commercial. Pentagon, 3 up, 3 down next. And James, I gotta ask, is that a forks up, forks down reference?
Sideways.
Penta down with the clown.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, well, first we gotta get to this sweaty bathroom where Conan assures that he did Puma a favor, living to fight another day, slaps Puma on the butt and says, let's go. Which is, that's all I need in a wrestling. That's all I need in a backstage segment.
He says, where's my cane at? So I can smack your bottom with that as well.
Well, we cut from the sweaty bottoms of the sweaty bathroom to the sweaty office where Sexy Star is meeting with Dario.
No, it's Dario.
Damn it.
It's Daria.
It's Daria. And quite frankly, Sexy Star is standing on Cueto's neck, letting him know she's tired of men coming in to save her. The crew took out her friends, Pimpy and Masquerita, and she wants to avenge them while proving she's tough enough to do it alone. Daria mentions Big Rick, and Sexy's like, no, I want to do this alone. Dario says, no, you misunderstand. How about you and Big Rick have a match next week, who also has a very heavy beef with the crew? The winner of your match will get the crew the following week.
Yeah. I remember that we cut it out. There was something that I was going to say that I'm like, oh, I would really much like this to happen, Sean. And that's Mill and Cage tag team matching. Oh my God, that'd be amazing. You want them to
team up? That's going to be a lot of beef. You know what? We'll have trios coming up. Mill, Cage and Big Rick.
That's too much. We need maybe like, I don't know, Chavo.
I think Mexico just killed Chavo.
Oh, okay. Blue Demon Jr.
Last thing, love it. Last thing, here's the thing. Here's my issue with this segment, and I don't know if it's an issue. I don't know if they explore this side of it. But tell me if you follow me on this. If this was really about Sexy Star's friends, she would have accepted the team up with Big Rick.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, this is all about her.
Yeah.
In like a very selfish way. Like I would go so far as to call that decision selfish. Making this about her and not about Pimpy and Masquerita.
It could be like, hey, we were labeled the freaks, the bizarre of equities.
Of equity.
Yeah, it was of equity.
The bizarre of Actors Equity.
Yes,
course. They're card-carrying members.
So I think she's like, well, this dude, maybe other people would see him and be like, oh, he's a giant and he has an eye patch. He's a little freaky. But as we explained, Hideo Kojima would be like, oh, so
sure.
He's not a freak. But she has been labeled one along with her friends. And I think she's like, I want to take them out for my friends.
See, and I think, to me, I feel like she's using her friends as an excuse to basically, because she also does make it very clear, I want to prove. Like the first thing she says is she's tired of men coming in to save her. Mm-hmm. Very fair. But if this was about her friends, she wouldn't really care how the crew got their comeuppance. She just would want the crew to get their comeuppance.
Yeah.
I guess there's a pride thing, so selfish it's more about pride than it is about selfishness.
Yeah.
But if you're not careful, pride can lead to selfishness.
It's one of the 7 deadly sins, baby.
One of them there 7 deadly sins is that and Dominators. Dominators is the other 7 deadly sins.
No, It's lust, sloth, and a little thing called sushi.
All of those things can be implemented in the Dominator, especially sushi.
No,
but make sure you clean your Dominator if you have to have a Dominator.
Yeah, because all that rice, that sticky rice getting into those nooks and crannies could disable some of the safety mechanisms.
And we don't want that.
We also don't want it smelling like sushi because then the dog might get a little overexcited and just start trying to lick everywhere. And tongue's caught in the Dominator now.
This is a terrible idea, and I'm so happy you're being sued. Vinny Massaro, who I think I follow on Twitter, is wrestling Pentagon Jr. coming up next. And commentary is putting over Penta's sacrifice arm breaker. Another lot of hey, look at who's in the audience. A couple people from the UFC might steal this move, make it a big UFC star.
Hey, it's not a submission hold if you snap someone's arm.
Which is also technically true. Like, when Penta puts it on, he's not trying to get you to tap. The move, he puts on the move to snap your arm. Like, there's no hold in that sense, because he's not holding the move. He's doing the move to break your arm. Which I guess I agree with, yeah. The sacrifice arm breaker lives in this weird, not quite a submission, but it's not like a slam either. I don't know, it's just a badass way to break someone's arm.
Who do you think the master is?
Fuck. At this point, I don't think it actually is anyone.
I think it's that dude hiding.
What dude hiding?
That lady's like, oh, when I was a girl, I wanted to grow up to be the woman to kill you.
Matanza?
Yeah.
Maybe. But I wonder, because Matanza and Dario have a very distinct relationship. I'm guessing Matanza is like Dario's brother.
Okay.
At this point. So I wonder, I don't think it would be that. Because I feel like Dario would be a lot more involved. I think it's possible. It's very possible. I'm going to go with the master is something inside of Penta.
Ooh.
Penta is secretly the master, and he's sort of praying almost to himself, to his inner violent side, which Vampiro is noticing. Vampiro calls Penta more confident, more evil, more sadistic. Do you think he's got mental problems? I hope so. If he harnesses that, it's a Fury Unleashed, take him to the top. This man straight up says, do you think he has mental problems? God, I hope so.
Hell yeah.
I hope this man is Twisted Tea.
I think the master is probably Hayachi Mishiva.
Probably.
Yeah.
You think this is all in the part of the Mishima Zaibatsu?
Yeah, or it's the devil gene.
Yo, what if it's G Corp?
Could be.
Could be G-Corp. Or, yo, what if it's Dr. Boskanovich?
What if it's Yoda?
Yo, what if it's Yaggle?
Yaggle from Fraggle Rock?
Yes.
It's just the Yoda from Fraggle Rock?
Yeah.
Yaggle?
They're all Muppets. There is a wrestling match between Vinny Massaro and Pentagon Jr. They jockey for position before Penta overhand slaps Vinny to the ground, thrust kick to keep him dazed on the mat. A few head taps with his foot sets Penta up for his 3-up, 3-down driver, Cero Miedo, for the win at 1:02. After the match, Rick Knox, get the fuck away from me. I gotta find a table. Vinny, I'm gonna chop you in the back from the top rope before I powerbomb you through this wood. And don't forget this sacrifice arm breaker on the way out.
For my master. Maybe it's Dr. Frankenstein.
Could be Dr. Frankenstein. Or it could be Dr. Franken's time for your main event. King Cuerno versus Johnny Puma. Commentary puts over that Johnny is a trophy to the title conquest of King Cuerno, and Johnny's just fighting for his life out here. Johnny they're telling an interesting story where early up top, Johnny is outsped by Cuerno's diving forearm. Very rarely does Johnny get outsped. He's getting outsped a little bit in this match.
It's outspeeded.
Okay. I don't think that's true.
It's outspode.
It's outchode.
Oh, damn, burping.
I know, and the joke was so good you have to leave the burp in.
Of course, I leave all burps in.
I thank you for this. I do love, though, like a little bit of, like Johnny's sort of like ring awareness and experience coming through. When he realizes that King Cuerno has this speed advantage early, he closes the gap. He goes in for these mat returns and these grapples. And as soon as Cuerno has to create distance, he rolls out of the ring. That's when Johnny can use his speed back to, again, close the distance. Like that's like it's not Johnny just having a speed advantage. It's Johnny creating a situation where Cuerno's seeking to create distance so he can go back to closing the distance with his topes and his super kicks.
Sean, those sirens might be for you in the background.
Why? Because I'm too horned up for this match? Agree. Especially when we get to the sequence of Johnny's hitting these Ultimate Warrior style clotheslines, and but runs into a Cuerno backbreaker, which Cuerno follows up with a Hogan leg drop for 2. Out of nowhere, this very exciting Lucha Libre spectacular wrestling match just turns into like WrestleMania 4, 1989 style.
Cuerno Mega Man slide kicks into the knees of Mundo, and it is so good.
Cuerno is so clean and crisp, and I mean, Aerostar is my all-star for this episode, but you know how I feel about me some Cuerno. Love to see it.
Smash Mouth's my all-star always.
You got to get your show on and get paid.
Oh man, you go. I don't know the lyrics.
What is Eddie Vedder doing lead singing for the band Smash Mouth?
You think I sound like Vedder? Hell yeah.
It sounded a little bit like Vedder, specifically Vedder singing for the band Smash Mouth. But even that slide kick, everything is very precise and to the point. But Johnny is just fighting for his life out here. Every time Cuerno is precise and deadly, Johnny's just fighting with grit and vigor and this knee injury. Don't forget that Cuerno took Johnny's knee out in his match against Brian Cage.
Yeah, with a chair to the thing.
Like a delicious, villainous coward. I love there is an exchange here which I was a big old fan of. Johnny hits a diving knee into like a standing corkscrew and then into a fin de mundo, maybe not the fin de mundo here, because this would be the corner with the deer skull. So he has to pick, there's big use the deer chants from the crowd, as they would want. Johnny hits his Moonlight Drive sort of signature grapple, so then he can set up his fin de mundo, but it takes too much time, and Cuerno ends up cutting him off. Which I love that it's the deer head. He goes up, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna hit my finisher. There's a deer head here, and it's probably magic, and I don't think I want to touch it. Mm-hmm. So let me try and set it up in this other corner, but it takes too long, and Cuerno starts getting back on top.
Oh man, a magical deer. Imagine the possibilities.
Oh man, you could like eat it and other things you could do with it. Possibilities are endless.
You cut into it and you rip off a piece of it, and it's immediately venison jerky.
Oh man, and I'm venison jerking off to these triple arrow of death suicide dives as King Cuerno takes over.
And we can see, this is actually how we know that this is the first recording of this session, because they added in railing around the audience. So the audience isn't just getting beat down by these individuals accidentally knocking into them.
No, and instead it's Johnny getting beaten down into the railing when he's not getting beaten down into the commentary desk. And Vampiro's monitor just gets fucked. It's amazing.
He loves it. Also,
yes,
early on in the match, they know each other's moves. That's being commented on. And Stryker says, familiarity breeds contempt. No, Stryker. It's the opposite. Contempt breeds familiarity in this situation. The only time familiarity breeds contempt is your commentary, sir. Get it out of here.
He's been great all night. I normally agree, but again, I do want to give Stryker his dues when they're owed. I would say the Aerostar versus Drago sort of difference of opinions. The way he pumps up Puma. Normally he's a big creepy perv. He's doing wonderful. He's doing a wonderful job tonight.
Yeah, that's because there's no women or in quotes freaks on the bill this time, so he's like, oh, I respect everyone in the ring. But immediately, once a woman's in there, he's like, oh, man, you guys want a nut? Yeah, I bet you do.
Yeah, that's fair. It's one of those weird, like, I almost want to take away, like, listening and watching this show, there's definitely things I've never heard a commentator say in a great way that I'm like, like the technical versus technical thing, that blew my mind and gave me a greater understanding of professional wrestling. You're still acting like it's 2004 and 2014. So we'll shit on him next week, I'm sure.
My guess is because he has those great nuggets someone is telling him to be like, oh, be a little more colorful in your commentating opposed to just call the match and be a wrestling fan like you are. Also, what's
okay.
up?
He was also because it's not just being colorful, it's being knowledgeable. And he was also very knowledgeable when he was commentating for WWE ECW. Like, I don't want to act like Stryker is terrible at being a commentator. He's terrible at being a man, but he's not terrible at being a commentator.
No, I'm defending him and his knowledge. I'm saying a producer might be telling him, hey, be more, in quotes, colorful instead of just commentating and like being a wrestling fan.
Like there's a producer saying, talk about them titties.
Yes,
instead of just being, okay, that makes sense.
Like, hey, you are the American here. You need to be the American opposed to Vampiro. Hey, you were luchador wrestling in the 90s.
There's a good chance actually someone came in and was like, hey, if you don't talk about titties, Vampiro's going to start talking about titties. And we can't allow that.
Which, like, it somehow won't be sexist. It'll just be no one will understand what he's talking about. Which might make it seem more sexist.
So on the third arrow of death suicide dive, both men eventually get to their feet. There's a 10 count going on. They lock eyes at like the count of 9. And instead of running back in the ring, said, I fucking hate you. Double clothesline each other. 10 count. It's a double count out at 7 minutes, 18 seconds. At which point they say, hey, the match is over. I still fucking hate you. Mm-hmm. And let's brawl around the arena, which they do all around the ring, all the way up the temple steps into the balcony area, which James then was going to say,
and top of the temple to ya.
And top of the temple to you, laddie. My name's Jacksepticeye, and I love titties. Matt Stryker taught me how. Anyway. Why do you have me on?
Yo, guys, go see Brunch Prov this Sunday, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Come to Brunch Prov. Stick that breakfast up your lunch. Love the brawl up the steps, though. Love them fighting at the temple. Love love Johnny holding King Cuerno by the throat over the balcony railing. And everyone just being like, yeah, dump him. I fucking want to see this man die. Lucha, lucha, lucha. And again, it's just I love, like, great wrestling is a little bit of everything. It is technico v technico, spectacle, and very clean and crisp, like we saw with Drago and Aerostar. It is the brawling, brutish, but very clean and capable Cage versus the plucky babyface who just, God, he's trying super hard, Prince Puma. And then it's just two dudes who hate each other, who have good reason to hate each other. Cuerno's trying to make his name off of the established Johnny Mundo. Johnny needs to fight for his life because being as big a star as he is, he has a target on his back. And it is vicious and violent, and all of these three different styles of storytelling is all still lucha.
Yeah, I will say I didn't like the brawl at the end. That I always have hated that stuff, like when people go out of the ring and just start fighting wherever. Because one, it's overused, and two, eventually the people there can't see what's going on, and that's when it cuts back to Vampiro screaming, "Oh, the fans are behind me watching on the monitors." But that part was great.
And it cuts to the people behind him and the monitors. They're like, "Yeah, we're here." Woo! I like a good brawl. Anything I think done is, I mean, it is a very common trope, and anything that hype, that high stakes, which a brawl to the outside should be a high stakes situation, without like context can feel unearned. You know, it's like, oh, cool, we blew up 3 cars in a giant car chase explosion, which I'm like, dope. The story deserves that. Like, we earned a car chase and explosion point, right? I think these guys absolutely did. I think the way Cuerno is treating it, I guess it is a business decision on behalf of Cuerno. Like, he's very mercantile about this. But like, the problem is, as much as it's business for Cuerno, that business is ending Johnny Mundo's life. So it literally is Johnny, like, I have to brawl on the outside. This guy's coming for my neck. And listen, I'm no throat goat. I gotta protect it.
Yeah. Anything sharp around your neck, no thank you. That's why I just buzz my neck hair.
Very true.
I get Buzz Lightyear to just kind of vibrate on it.
Hey, to infinity and I come. Cuerno is belly to belly overheaded suplex through a steel fence into the merch. And we go off the air as Vampiro exclaims, "It's the hot tub guy!" Who I guess is one of the people standing behind him watching the monitor.
Yeah, that would be my guess as well.
But the hot tub guy's here. We go into the credit sequence as we see a black caddy driving away. When we open up the trunk, it's a tied up Black Lotus, mouth taped over and everything. This is after she got bagnapped in the last episode. We hear a mysterious voice, "What do you know about Lucha Libre?" And then we see from her perspective, I think this is the masked man who was doing exposition in the first episode.
Oh, could be.
Yeah, do you remember the first episode who was kind of explaining the tradition of Aztec warriors and Lucha Libre in that sense? I think it's that guy. He's like in a track outfit and his mask is still on, and he reaches his hands into the trunk and says, "Come with me." And it cuts to black, and I'm very creeped out. But I'm very curious as to what's about to happen.
I'm very excited. Real quick about that hot tub guy. My guess is there's a guy who sells hot tubs, like he owns a business that does that, and has been backstage and is like, "Oh yeah, if you ever want a hot tub, let me know," and is trying to sell wrestlers hot tubs. So he's like, "It's the hot tub guy."
I want to be specific. I think he's trying to sell Vampiro. I think it might be a pyramid scheme of hot tubs, and Vampiro is all in.
No, you can just buy a hot tub.
Yeah, let's go. Nah, you could just buy a hot tub. That's not what Hot Tub Guy does. Hot Tub Guy is a multi-level marketing scheme, and Vampiro is destined to become the one true hot tub guy.
Man.
So he's hyping up the product.
I love a hot space tub girl. Ooh, baby, that's sexy.
Ooh-wee. I don't even know what all those words mean together, but I am in.
Tub
just
girl.
Like, a hot space, but the hot space part.
Oh, I'm saying tub girl is hot, like it's a hot tub girl.
All right, and when do we get celestial and outer space with it?
Huh?
You said hot space tub girl.
Oh, I meant like space as in space bar.
Oh, so she's not like an alien?
No, she's just pooping and shitting into her own mouth.
Which is pretty cool if she was an alien, but like I could get a human to do that like today. So like, I could do that today.
No,
I will do that today.
Yeah.
I will do that.
I'll give you a week for you to be able to do it. Come back next episode.
And I will shit into my mouth.
No.
Unless I get distracted. Wait, what is it?
You are needing to get another individual to do that for you. To shit into their own mouth.
I actually don't want to do that.
All right.
You know what I do want to do?
Plugs.
You know it, baby. You can check me out on twitch.tv/GooseVK, having a good time. Sometimes I watch wrestling. Sometimes I play X-Men Legends. Either way, it's a hoot and a holler. And if you're in Chicago and you have like an improv team or any sort of like act, we're keeping it a pretty open stage at Brunch Prov at the Holiday Club off the Sheridan Red Line.
It's so open that I will be in attendance with just a big old crate of tomatoes that I'm selling for $2 a piece just in case.
Or how about we create a lovely and like cultivating environment for people to just do their art and like be themselves.
No, we've had the Sandman come up and like push people off stage while I'm the ding dang something a tomato thing that rhymes with Sandman.
All right, James has officially become banned from Brunch Prov.
Oh, I'm the
banned
man. And I'm going to ban everyone on stage and say, you stop doing improv.
James, just go your fucking plugs, you goddamn freak.
Hey guys, check me out at the Goodman Theater, February 10th, where you and I, listener, will be stealing the ashes of Del Close. I want to do a Facebook event where it's like, hey, we're going to raid Area 51. No, we're raiding the Goodman.
Isn't the Goodman like an actual theater? I thought Del Close was at I.O.
No, Del Close it says on his Wikipedia, his resting place is the Goodman Theater.
Okay, cool.
And I can only assume that's where his ashes are. It's not like they buried him in a comb underneath.
Did you call a catacomb just a comb?
Yeah, a comb. I shorten it.
Oh, that's pretty hip. You have any more plugs, you Mr. Cool Guy?
Yeah, guys, check out my new album, February 10th on the, hey, we'll be rocking now while we go steal those ashes. It's called the Horror Crunk Entertainment Remix Album. Check it out, February 10th, wherever music is found. Head over to MLMpod.com to find out information about my other podcasts like Height of Horror, Formulaic, Mostly Speak and Scent, I Hid It and Crit It, and Sweet Child of Time. Yeah! Oh, fuck. And then head over to patreon.com/MLMpod, where for $5 a month, you get exclusive content every single Friday. This existed, Death from Above, a Sam and Max podcast, Mostly Speak and Sentai After Dark, and Engage with Nicolas Cage, which, hey, I'm going to have to talk to Nicole. I got to shorten up those records, baby. Oh, yeah. Which most of those records, like, it's like, oh, we recorded for 2 hours. How was this, an hour and 30? What did James cut? I'm just cutting silence after I talk, and Nicole is like, I don't know what else to say. And I'm like, oh, my God, Nicole, heating on her.
Wow. You're hitting on everyone today.
Yeah, I'm just goddamn searing.
It's those lawsuits, man. I'm telling you, this Dominator shit is going to your brain.
No, Megan producers are going to my brain, okay?
Sounds like a deflection to me.
But if you do $10 a month over on patreon.com/MLMpod, you get monthly exclusive content in the form of straight to Patreon as of late, where we watch a direct-to-video movie and then we record a podcast right after it. It feels very like, ooh, we're having a slumber party, but during the day, Sean's been on a few times, little Corey's been on. It's a fun fucking time, baby. Yeah. And you get shout-outs on every single free feed podcast. So let's begin with those, starting with Steve F.
You think they've got mental problems?
Eric Berry of Ranger Command Power Hour.
Do you think they've got mental problems?
Maybe this is insensitive. Alex Z. The Waz.
I blame Vampiro. Do you think they've got mental problems?
Okay, you could have just said I blame Vampiro after each of these. Orion, a.k.a. Defo, got new stuff coming out. He's a rapper, D-Fo.
God damn it, Vampiro.
Kayla, a.k.a. Two Grapes. Jordan B., the Chaos Witch.
Yeah, I'm go ahead.
Joshua, my pickle. Joshua, brother in
Love 'em.
common law, Jakis. Steve Barnes of Introvoid and Sweet Child of Time. Go check him out. My mother. Oh, yeah. Lil Corey's BFF and roommate Shane. That Fed. And beep, 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 beep. Brand new. Just this in. Corwin's met him. Go check out twitch.tv/Corwinning. It's Corwin from This Movie's Gay.
Nice. And I am Sean.
And I'm James.
This has been Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling. Y'all take care of yourselves and be beautiful.
Bye.